And now, the jerk list.
He's kind of a jerk.
Jerk.
Jerk!
I'm a jerk.
You're jerks! Jerk and double jerk!
Jerk. 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 Jerk.
Jerk! 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 Jerk!
710 ESPN, Dave Dameshek. Yes, the jerk list. The time is nigh, and we'll be getting to that in just a second. Lakers home tonight, though, against the Blazers. And Pau Gasol, definitely back, A. Martinez. Definitely not black, but is he definitely back tonight?
He's supposed to. There's no indication that he's not going to play.
Still no. And coming up at the bottom of the hour, you got the Clippers in Seattle, another clash of the Titans there. Dodgers and Gigantics. Blue looking to take it to 3 in a row here to start the season against the lowly Gigantics. Lincecum for the Giants versus Billingsley. Battle of two good arms there. Halos and the Twins, rubber match. Joe Saunders versus Blackburn up there in that hideous dome that they got going. Anyway, so the jerk list, it's time. We got to do it. And, I love when the jerks and creeps, I love it when they try to run away at the last second as though they can outrun justice. They can't. But before we get going here, I say it every time, and I say it again now. People sometimes feel a little raw that they find their name on the jerk list. They don't like it. They don't like being shot by the Han Solo Edition blaster, and they get angry with me. But remember, don't get angry with me, because ultimately, I didn't put you on this list. You put you on this list. Let it begin! All right, first up, we'll get to the Coliseum and what went on over there. But right now, did you hear about the Formula One guy, the head of Formula One, Max Mosley? London tabloid, I don't know if this is true or not, but News of the World is reporting that Formula One president Mosley, they have pictures of him taking part in a sadomasochistic orgy with 5 prostitutes involving Nazi role-playing. He's dressed up, I guess, they're reenacting in some sort of sadomasochistic orgy. They're reenacting concentration camp scenes in which he plays the roles of both a guard and of an inmate. Egad! Well, I think that speaks for itself. Sometimes I have to explain why they're on the jerk list, but this is pretty dark in a number of ways, except for the part where he's with the 5 hookers. But, I mean, the rest of it is just disgusting, and I won't stand for it. Formula One president, number 1, jerk! All right, let's move on to the national pastime. Sure you heard about this in the last day or so. Moises Alou, now a Metropolitan, formerly a Chicago Cubby. You remember him back in 03 in Game 6 against the Florida Marlins in the National League Championship Series. The Bartman play. He jumps up and Bartman blocks the ball, and Alou sort of reacts angrily and seems to suggest that it's Bartman's fault. And Alou has just come out and said, I couldn't have caught that ball. I could never have caught that ball. So stop being so hard, everybody, on Bartman. What have you been doing for the last 5 years, Moises Alou? You've been on the DL for 90% of your team's games since that day. What have you been doing with yourself? This poor guy, this poor kid's life has been ruined while you make millions and millions of dollars. You were too filled up. What were you? Were you having sadomasochistic orgies with prostitutes reenacting Nazi concentration camp scenes? I don't know. I can't imagine what was taking your time away from stopping everyone from ruining this poor kid's life. Metropolitan Cubby for today, jerk! All right, it's the start of baseball season. Thank goodness the steroid stuff can be set aside. All offseason long, we heard about the Mitchell Report, all about the biggest stars in the game, from the best teams, all juicing up. In the meantime, the Pittsburgh Pirates and Kansas City Royals, again projected by everyone to stink. Why? No steroids! Where are your names on this Mitchell Report? Why aren't we hearing about Pirates and Royals? Lack of commitment. Lack of commitment to success is your team's problem. Get on the juice until you do. Jerk! All right, you know what? Let's cool down with the get out of jerk free card here. This goes same way as in Monopoly, the get out of jail free card. This buys you out any future jerky behavior. This is sort of a bittersweet one because he deserves to be honored. He deserves to get out of jerk free card. Alec Guinness. It's his birthday today. Who's Alec Guinness, you youngsters ask? You know, shame on you. Someone by the name of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ever heard of him? Strong with the Force? Yes, Diglio.
I was going to say Bridge on the River Kwai, right?
Of course, Bridge on the River Kwai for the elderly among us. But yeah, Kenobi to the rest of us. Obi-Wan, Ben Kenobi. That's when we meet him. Luke talks to him and says, do you know an Obi-Wan Kenobi? And it startles Obi-Wan. He says to sit down on a rock. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now that is a name I have not heard in a long time. A long time. Oh, he's the best. He's just Kenobi strong with the Force. It all starts with him. And now he's gone. But as we know, anyone who saw the Star Wars movies knows that you can't take him down. If you strike him down now, he shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. That's exactly right. We remember what happened in the cantina when he chops the arm off the ne'er-do-well who wanted to do harm to Luke Skywalker. We remember what happens when he meets Han Solo, and they're looking for a ship to take him to the Death Star, and they meet Han Solo for the first time. Kenobi, he's never heard of the Millennium Falcon. What does Solo say back to him? You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? She's the ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs. She's fast enough for you, old man. Oh, so many memories. I could go on. And remember, of course, when they're going into the cantina and the stormtroopers are trying to get the droids that R2 has the valuable information of Vader on there. Thank goodness Kenobi's on hand to distract the stormtrooper. Let's hear a little of that, Dick Banks.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Oh, those dumb stormtroopers don't know which way to turn. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Move along. And the dumb stormtrooper, he makes a perfect ass out of him, and I love every minute of it. Kenobi, to you, Alec Guinness, the Get Out and Jerk free card. Let's hear a little bit more of Kenobi. Real quick, Dick Banks.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
That's right. If you believe in the right side of the Force, that's true. All right, back to the jerks now.
Hey, Dave?
Yes, Digley.
At the risk of finding myself on the jerk list, why did he get the Get Out of Jerk free card other than the fact that he's so awesome?
Because, just because it's noteworthy. It's his birthday. It's his birthday. I figured let's acknowledge it.
I didn't get that. I was just curious.
Right, there's no reason you didn't have to question me. No, you didn't have to question me. It's too late. There's no reason to interrupt me with that question. I'm sorry, Diglio. You don't need to make yourself any guiltier.
This little one is not worth the trouble.
All right, you know what?
Oh.
He saved himself. Wow.
Yes.
Good for you. That's good for you. That's exactly what he says to the stormtrooper. This little one's not worth the trouble. All right, Diglio, you almost felt the Han Solo Edition blaster, but you saved it. Anyway, speaking of technology, like we see up on Tatooine and the Death Star and so on and so forth in the Star Wars movies, ESPN, 710ESPN.com, fancy website and all. We have our podcasts available for you if you go to 710ESPN.com and click on the Dameshek homepage. But the podcasts haven't been working lately, and especially the full show podcast. Every hour of the show is available for you for listening, but lately it hasn't been working, and it has been fixed. If you want to check it out and listen to full show stuff we've been doing the last couple weeks, please do so. But for letting down the listener, letting down me, Dave Dameshek, podcasts, jerk. All right. Most weeks, this next one would have been your creep of the week in a walk. Neil Diamond. Over at the Coliseum on Saturday night, there were all sorts of candidates for the jerk list at the Coliseum. It was scary. People were getting in fights. It was frightening. I almost cried.
Oh, no.
But it was scary.
What?
It was scary. Scary out there. It got tough once
Did
night
Feeney
fell.
to protect you?
David Feeney will be in here on Friday, the show's humorist. And anyway, that's neither here nor there right now. Anyway, so in the middle of the game, it's a charity. They're raising money for a charity, and they said, you've touched our hearts or whatever. And they play Neil Diamond's Heartlight, the song he wrote.
Turn on your heart light.
There it is.
Oh.
He wrote this song about the movie E.T. Again, we had Jimmy Kimmel on yesterday who was discussing this. And there's a common misconception, of course, that this movie was made for E.T. and made it into the movie. No, Neil Diamond went to see this movie, E.T. He's a grown man, by the way, when he sees the movie. He's not an 8-year-old boy. He's a grown man. He sees E.T. and is so moved by the movie by a movie about an alien who likes to touch fingers with little boys and then ride bikes in front of the moon and everything. that he stopped on his way home from having seen the movie and recorded this song at his recording studio. That's just weird.
Yeah.
And on the heels of him doing Sweet Caroline and announcing just recently that Sweet Caroline was dedicated to Caroline Kennedy, JFK's daughter, he wrote the song, though. That's fine, except that when he wrote the song for Caroline Kennedy, Sweet Caroline, Touching Me, Touching You, she was 13 years old. There's a very ugly, ugly trend developing with Mr. Neil Diamond. He should have been the creep of the week, but one thing's for sure, for the second time in a row, he's a jerk! Right now. Oh, just awful. Let's get to the creep of the week. Creep, creep, creep of the week, of the week. He or she is the creep of the week. All right, back to the Coliseum on Saturday night. After the first inning, I think it was a love fest for old Dodgers and for Los Angeles sports fans. It was a great time for guys whose first baseball game was at the Coliseum watching those Dodgers in the late 50s and everything. It was a great atmosphere. And then at the end of the first inning, out trots Laker great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Cool, he's going to throw out the first pitch, or he's going to throw out a pitch in between innings, whatever. All 7 feet, one of them, or whatever he is, and he's a professional athlete. In fact, one of the greatest athletes to ever play in the NBA. He takes the hump. George Bush, the president, this 60-year-old wiener, the next night throws high heat in front of the Washington Nationals. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a world-class athlete, gets out on the hump and throws the worst pitch I've ever seen, bar none. Forget about any lady doing it. Forget about an 80-year-old president. Forget about a mayor. If you remember how the Cincinnati mayor threw the ball out last year, they all paled in comparison, or I should say they all soared in comparison compared to what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did. Throwing that ball out, it made it about 8 feet off the mound before it landed in the ground and trickled somewhere right in between the home plate and first base.
Oh, no.
It was embarrassing. He embarrassed himself. He embarrassed the Lakers. He embarrassed his sport. And for that, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you may be one of the 50 greatest of all time. You may have all sorts of rings and MVP trophies. But this week, my friend, you are the creep of the week.
The Jerk List with Dave Dameshek reporting. Until next time, don't be a jerk.